I learned a new term from one of our guests on the show a few weeks back: productive procrastination. It got me thinking about all those tasks we fill our days with that make us feel like we're making progress, all those busy work tasks. But in reality, this productive procrastination helps you avoid the tasks that move the needle and take you closer to your goals. In this episode, I'll explain why we get into this habit of productive procrastination and share my 3-step process to get out of this rut and fill your day with productive work, not busy work. Okay, let's dive in. My husband says I'm an expert procrastinator. I consider myself fairly productive, and I almost always get things done in the end. But I must admit there are times when I definitely procrastinate. I shared way back in episode 37 how sometimes my procrastination works to my advantage. Recently, I was procrastinating on buying movie tickets for my family. Then, restrictions changed again, and with the ongoing pandemic, I felt justified in my procrastination. I told myself, see, we might not have been able to go to a movie anyway, so good thing I didn't get tickets yet. We did end up being able to see the movie, and it took me about 2 minutes to go online and buy the tickets. And we all procrastinate sometimes, right? Whether it's something relatively small, like buying movie tickets, or something bigger, like starting on that giant work project you've been avoiding for weeks. Why do we do this? Sometimes it works out, and we don't end up having to do that task we're avoiding after all. But more often than not, procrastination just makes us feel more stressed out. We avoid that task until the last minute, then we feel rushed to get it done. Playing catch up the night before you have to give that presentation, or working through lunch to finish that report. And reliably, you feel frustrated with yourself. Why did I procrastinate? I should have just started this weeks ago. Or I should have just bought the tickets yesterday when I thought about it and it would have been done with. Sound familiar? Don't worry, my friend, you're not alone. We all procrastinate because procrastination makes our brains feel good, at least in the short term. Let me explain why our brains love to procrastinate. Reason number 1, your brain makes you procrastinate. Sometimes procrastination is rewarded. Just like when I felt justified in procrastinating on buying those movie tickets, then the theaters almost closed again. All that does is reinforce procrastination for my brain. Our brains are built to learn, and they learn best through experiences. Every action you take or choice that you make is either reinforced by the result, it works to your advantage, so your brain wants to keep doing it, or your brain gets some type of punishment, it doesn't work out, so your brain doesn't want to do it again. Let me give you another example. Say I'm procrastinating on starting a report for a client at work. I've avoided it for a few days, and then my boss comes in and says the client has changed their mind and they want something different. My procrastination is rewarded for my brain. My brain says, oh, good thing I didn't start that already. It would have been a waste of time. So I'm more likely to procrastinate again in the future. Just like when you were back in school and your teacher gave you a gold star for a project you worked hard on, that gold star is rewarding for your brain as a kid. And our brains keep searching for rewards as adults. They're designed that way. But what if instead of my boss telling me that a client changed their mind, my boss came in and said, actually, Nicole, the deadline has been moved up and that report is due tomorrow. My procrastination wouldn't have been rewarded, and so my brain will be less likely to procrastinate in the future. Or so you'd think. But that doesn't always happen, right? We've all had experiences where procrastination did not work out, where it did not help us, but we keep doing it. And that's because of reason number 2 that we procrastinate. Reason 2 your brain makes you procrastinate? Procrastination feels good, in the short term at least. It lets us avoid something that we think is going to feel bad. Another skill our brains have mastered is making up stories. You know your brain is great at this. All those what ifs and worst case scenarios. What if I start this report and the client decides they want something different? What if I make this presentation and no one likes it? What if I call that person back and they get mad at me? What if, what if, what if? All those what ifs are stories your brain is making up that keep you stuck. Because what ifs are scary, and your brain likes to feel comfortable, not scared. It's easier for your brain to procrastinate rather than face the what ifs. Easier to avoid starting that project or going after that promotion or making that phone call you've been dreading because it feels good in the short term. Our brains are designed to keep us safe, and comfortable is safe. Our brains are focused on the short term because the short term is more concrete for your brain. It's easy for your brain to say, well, it's going to feel good right now if I eat that chocolate bar. And it's harder for your brain to say, well, actually eating this carrot is better for my long-term health, right? Same goes for procrastination. It feels good right now to procrastinate and avoid that scary thing my brain is making up all these stories about. And it's harder to focus long-term and remember that procrastination is going to make me feel overwhelmed and stressed out in the long run. Another short-term win for your brain is productive procrastination. Those things that make us feel productive, but are really just you avoiding something more important. Busy work. Organizing my closet rather than doing that workout I said I wanted to get in today. Answering emails rather than making that phone call to that client I'm avoiding. Making sure my schedule for the next 4 weeks is all set up and perfectly color coordinated rather than starting on that presentation I don't really want to give. You know those busy work tasks I'm talking about. This productive procrastination makes your brain feel good in the short term because it feels like you're working hard. And you are. You're busy, right? So you must be making progress. But not if you're stuck in those busy work cycles and avoiding the tasks that really matter and really make an impact on your long-term success. So, what can you do? How can you get out of this habit of productive procrastination? I'm going to walk you through 3 steps to get your brain out of this habit. Step number 1, write down everything on your to-do list. All the projects you have on the go, the phone calls you need to make, the reports you need to write. Get it all written down so you can take a clear look at what's actually on your plate. Step number 2, read through your list and find the task you're avoiding. Maybe it's one that's been on the list for a while and keeps getting pushed to the next day or the next week or the next quarter. When you read through your list, you'll find that task that makes you want to procrastinate, and you'll notice a change in how you feel when you read that item. You read that task and your stomach feels a bit tight, or you get fidgety, or you find yourself wanting to stop this procrastination exercise altogether. That's the task you want to pick. Your brain is great at procrastinating, remember. And those uncomfortable feelings are a way that your brain makes you avoid that task because it doesn't feel good, so you want to procrastinate more. But we're here to get you out of that habit. Step number 3. You've identified that task you've become an expert at avoiding or procrastinating on. Now, take that task and break it down into super small steps. You want to break it down so small that you can do the first step in about 5 to 10 minutes. Really super small. The reason for this is right now, that task probably feels overwhelming. That's one of the reasons your brain procrastinates. Overwhelming doesn't feel good. Better avoid it. Breaking it down super small is way easier for your brain to take action. The task seems less scary, and your brain is more likely to agree to working for just 5 to 10 minutes. Plus, the act of just starting builds momentum. You're likely to notice that first step wasn't nearly as scary as those stories your brain was making up, so you're more likely to keep going. Let's go back to my movie ticket buying example. I brainstorm all the small tasks I need to do to get that task done. Maybe step number 1 is I talk to my family to decide what movie we want to see. Step number 2 is I look up showtimes. Step 3, I find my wallet. Step 4, I purchase tickets. I know that's a simple example, but we procrastinate on simple things too, right? Breaking it down makes the task less scary, less overwhelming, and so your brain is more likely to get started. Starting small takes away that fear of the unknown, of the what ifs, and makes taking action rather than procrastinating more comfortable. This episode is brought to you by my free daily productivity workbook. Ever wished you had more time in your day? This free workbook will walk you through the steps I use to set up my day to maximize productivity so you can get more done without feeling totally overwhelmed or staying up all night to squeeze it all in. You can download your copy at dr.nicolebyers.com/checklist. That's dr.nicolebyers.com/checklist. Okay, let's do a quick recap of what you've learned today. Your brain loves to procrastinate. It's normal. We all procrastinate. Sometimes on big tasks and sometimes on small tasks. Because procrastination feels comfortable for your brain, at least in the short term. One of the reasons procrastination is easier for your brain is your brain is really good at coming up with stories that make that task you're avoiding seem not so fun, not so comfortable. All those what ifs. To get out of that procrastination habit and avoid filling your day with busy work, find the task you're avoiding. It's often one that's going to move you closer to your goals. Then break it down into super small bite-sized chunks, ones that are easier for your brain to tackle so you get less mental resistance. And get started. Just starting will show your brain that the task wasn't so scary or awful after all. And just by starting, you build momentum and are more likely to keep going. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dr. Nicole Byers, and this is the Bold Life Podcast.